So where NexHealth began is our CEO was actually a office manager of a dental practice in Brooklyn, um, and was very frustrated with the amount of time his staff was spending inputting a lot of manual data, taking phone calls when patients he believed could be able to self-schedule themselves online, and the current systems out there were just not cutting it for him. So he was buddies with some software developers, and they got together and they developed their own platform. Okay. The way that Weave and the Dentrix e-services, the way that they all connect with Dentrix and the other practice softwares is through a little piece of technology that's called an API, which is essentially a bridge that connects the software to your Dentrix database so that they can talk back and forth. The only issue is those APIs that are currently in play are a little bit outdated. They're not commonly updated. And it's kind of like trying to use a modern day product on a dial-up internet. It doesn't allow enough data to transfer back and forth. So there's a lot of sync issues, a lot of bugs, a lot of downtime, and they don't integrate as deep as a lot of offices need them to.
Okay.
So at NexHealth, we build our own integrations, our own API. It's what we call the synchronizer. So it's much faster. It allows us to automate a lot more. It'll actually sync with your practice management system every 15 seconds, which is the
Oh,
fastest on the market.
got it.
Okay. Most systems like Weave and probably your experience with the hub, they sync once every 20 minutes. So a lot changes at a practice in that time. We don't want to be waiting 20 minutes for forms information to upload, things like that.
Right.
Sometimes you move a patient's appointment and they get a reminder for the old appointment time, things like that. That will never happen with NexHealth.
What you see
Okay.
across your board right here are all the things that we love about we didn't think that this actually would ever exist. And when you were talking about the office manager that designed this, I can completely understand because I was in that same boat. I was so frustrated with how much time it would take my very, very talented hygiene coordinator to fill an open hygiene spot because hygiene drops off all day long. People forget that they
Mhm.
had the appointment. We get confirmations and but they just can't because of a work schedule or family. And so she's constantly doing it. And she would literally spend all day making these phone calls. And all she does is this one click, send it all out. And then we have the
Mhm.
phones calling and patients saying, "Oh man, I missed it. Oh, I was hoping I could get it." So we now have patients fighting over an appointment that took us forever to fill, and it
Mhm.
just it blew me away. But I love the scheduling online. I love the communication is so clear. It's on our big screen now. It's not small and tiny on a little cell phone. It's
Yeah,
immediate. I can see the responses. The forms are by far my favorite payments, the reviews. I love that only 5 star goes to Google and we can handle the rest. And of course, that one call click recall is amazing. I love all those.
perfect. And yeah, what our goal is at NexHealth, like most other systems out there, they're there to help save you a bit of time, but more than anything, they're a notification tool for your practice,
Yeah.
right? You get a message to confirm your appointment, you get a message to, hey, give us a call to get scheduled. Um, but what NexHealth's goal is to be dramatically more than a notification tool. We want to be a revenue driver for the practice. So wherever patients are finding you, we want them to be able to get on your schedule and get on your schedule while it's top of mind for them. So they're more likely to do so. We want to make sure that they're qualified, showing up at a high rate. So not only are we cutting down on cancellations and bringing you more patients, but at the end of the day, we're driving revenue for your practice. That's really what our goal is in addition to just saving time and making life easier for your
Yeah.
staff. We want to make life easier for your patients as well. And again, that synchronizer that we built, that's what allows all of this to be possible. It allows us to customize the system so well. It's because we've developed our own integration. But let's start here. First of all, the online booking is completely customizable. We will build it out however you need us to. So whatever appointment types you want listed, the providers associated, the specific time blocks we can custom build for you. But again, it syncs in real time with your practice management schedule. So the times that patients are seeing are actual availabilities in your schedule.
Right. We use
What's
it only for cleanings for hygiene and
mhm,
we use it for new patients. And that's all that we have used it for because those are very simple plug-in type of appointments.
right.
We schedule different types of, surgeries and we don't really have anything that's the same other than those two. However, those are the two hardest that we have to fill because a lot our schedule is is actually formed around those appointments. So if we
Hmm.
having those online scheduling, it makes everything else so much easier. And it really works. If we had last week, we had 4 of our referrals. We have a statistic every week how many referrals have come into your office, and 4 of those came from the online booking, and we just started it. So that was pretty impressive.
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed you have on there a specific appointment type for
Correct.
referrals where it has them enter the referring practice or doctors, which is phenomenal. So we're able to track that for you,
Yes.
and provide you with that data. So yeah, now instead of coming in over the weekend and having 10 voicemails that you have
Correct.
to call back, right? Now you have 8 or maybe even more than that appointments on the schedule, right?
Yes.
What's so interesting about this is right here we have a stat that 73% of appointments, and we have millions of appointments every year that are booked through NexHealth, 73% of those are done after hours and on the weekends when offices are closed. So by not having online booking, a lot of offices are missing out on a lot of patients that would have come to you if they could have gotten on the schedule a bit easier.
Nice.
Um, we can put that anywhere. So any online presence you have, Facebook page, Google page, any social media sites, any advertisements you're running, we are able to put that link there. In addition to that, even a lot of perio offices will do some mailers or prints or things like that, or even referral cards at their referring offices. We can generate a QR code for you where
Oh,
patients are able to scan that and print and still book online.
great. I love it.
Okay. And we're able to track all that data for you where patients are scheduling. Are they clicking on the link but not filling out all of the questions? Where are they dropping off? We can provide all that data for you so we know what's working, what's not working, all that type of stuff. Um, this is personally my favorite feature of NexHealth. It's what we call our one-click booking. So most recall services will reach out automatically to patients via text and email, letting them know they're overdue. But where they lack is they leave it up for the patient to call or text the office to get scheduled.
Yes.
Again, offices are only open a few hours a day, right? Where if someone like the majority of people get a message like this, I'm working during the day or I'm watching my grandkids or whatever it might be, right? I have to stop my day, call the office during working hours to get scheduled. And because there's just a few extra steps, a lot of patients don't do that.
Yes.
So in this case, we will reach out automatically and say, hey, Danielle, you're overdue for a perio maintenance visit. Let's get you back in. Here's the next availability we have for next week.
Yeah,
And
this is
Danielle, with one click, is able to book and get on the schedule.
we also, my hygiene coordinator spends a lot of time because we have a very, very large backlog of patients that are due for their cleaning. And just like you said, they're just too busy to call and schedule that. So she has
Mhm.
to all the time just call and call. And what you're doing when you're calling is you're really just leaving them a message because they don't
Voicemails.
ever answer their phone. So this is great because she just sends this out and it's so easy to just hit a day and hit a time and then it's done. So yes, our hygiene schedule has improved dramatically just by using this one feature.
I love that. Perfect. In addition to that, I know you mentioned our waitlist tool has been dramatically
Yes,
helpful for you.
absolutely.
Um, and for your practice, Danielle, do you primarily use the ASAP list in Dentrix, or does your staff have their own list they typically work out of?
So we use the ASAP list and Dentrix, which for hygiene, mostly we do have ASAP for a lot more of the stuff, but mostly for hygiene because we are currently scheduled out right now 7 months for our hygiene. We have 2 full-time hygienists and one part-time hygienist, and we're scheduled out 7 months in advance. So it's really difficult for us to get anybody in unless we have some openings that just kind of occur in. So this wait request that we have, if somebody cannot come tomorrow and we send out this just huge thing of we click all these patients. Actually, it's just like 2 or 3 clicks of um 1 hour booking, these patients that are due, and it's like click, 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 and then it blasts out. And then within about under 10 minutes, we have patients saying, I'll take it, I'll take it, I'll take it. So it gets filled so much faster.
Yeah. What our data shows right now is 80% of those visits, those blasts are being filled within 5 minutes of sending them. Sounds like that's pretty in line with what you've seen as
Yes.
well. Um, and what I love about this system is you can use it in so many different areas. So each practice management system, whether Dentrix, EagleSoft, Open Dental, it does have some sort of ASAP list, quick fill list, sooner if possible list. And our system will pull directly from that list, so it's integrated with that wait list schedule. In addition to that, I know a lot of your staff members are just really on top of things, or some of them utilize some sticky notes or handwritten list of patients that also want to come in sooner,
Right.
and you can manually add them to our wait list as well.
Okay.
So however you keep track of patients that want to come in sooner, you can use it any way you'd like. It can be used for hygiene visits as well as specialty visits on the doctor's side. Any type of appointment we can use for this wait list tool. But once we grab your list of patients of who you want us to send this message to, they'll receive a notification of that appointment that you're trying to fill. It's first come, first serve. So whoever responds first, staff will get a notification. We can even create it in the schedule if you'd like us to save you some time. And then once that appointment has been filled, if patients text back afterwards, they will get an auto response letting them know that appointment's already been taken. So they're
Yes.
not calling you guys or expecting that to get that appointment later on.
And we do have it where NexHealth does have it scheduled for us. So we will see that big open hour in our hygiene schedule. All of a sudden, there's an appointment in there ready to go. It's so nice.
So nice. Yeah. Most offices currently utilize more like what we call the stop, drop, and dial method. If I have an opening or cancellation for tomorrow, I get on the phone, I start calling down that list. And like you said, I leave a lot of voicemails, then they're calling me back, and it just ends up wasting a lot of time. So this will fill them at a much higher rate and be much more efficient for the staff.
I do believe it. Yes.
I would say my second, I think you said this was your favorite feature of NextHealth. My second is our digital forms process
Yes.
because we cover all the bases as far as it being customizable and fully automated. So
Yes.
if offices want to send us your current forms, our team will custom build all your forms for you, but we'll set them up to integrate directly back into your practice management system.
So we did that.
What?
You guys did customize our medical history forms, which I'll tell you, my doctor is very particular. And it's not easy, but you guys did it. I mean, the first time he's like, yes, this is great. So you guys did customize our medical history forms. We gave you all of our consents, which I think we had like 35 different consents.
Mm,
And we are able to, yes, this is my absolute favorite. I just put in the patient's name. I hit the forms, patient named, and I go through I want these 3, 4, 6 consents, also a medical history update, send, and it shows me right there that I sent it. It'll show me on the portal that they're reviewing it. It'll show me on the portal that they have sent it back to me, and it is great. And I love how you can put the expiration date, like due by tomorrow, due
mhm.
by next week, and that way it will give them a reminder of, hey, you have 1 day left, or so so it reminds them to fill out those forms.
Yeah. Great, I love that. Danielle, do you mostly manually have the staff send them out, or do you have them set up to go out automatically to the patients?
So the hygiene coordinator will do automatic when she
Okay.
knows medical histories are due to be updated. As a patient coordinator, what I do all day long, treatment coordinator, is I see my patient. My patient is Mr. Test here, and I'm
Hmm.
getting him scheduled. And I say, okay, I'm going to be sending you a few consents for the procedure along with the medical history update form. Please look at those look for those on your phone or your computer. It's very simple to navigate through and sign with your finger, and all is good. And our patients sometimes are, they're older patients. They're in their 80s or so, and
Right.
they don't know how to do stuff. And they've even told me that was so easy to do. They just pull it up. If they're sitting in front of me in the office, I'll say, get your phone out. Do you see it? Yes. Okay. Click that. Great. Sign with your finger. And it sends back complete. All's ready to go.
Perfect. I love it. That is a great way to utilize this system. And we'll get a little bit more into automating a bit more here in a second. But what a lot of my specialty offices like to do is we can build out your packets by appointment types and procedure codes. Then when patients are scheduled, this system is smart enough to recognize exactly what that patient is coming in for and auto send the forms out ahead of time. If you don't want to have to manually send out those consents, we're able to automate that. So this way, new patients will get new patient packets. If you want an existing patient to update like a health history form every 6 months or year or something like that, because a lot can change, especially with older patients with their health history, those
Yes,
can be automated. And consent forms can go out for those specialty visits as well, all done automatically.
I love it.
And then, like you said, you're able to track all that of like, have patients filled out their forms? Did they start filling them out? Do I need to send them a reminder? Which the system can send them automated reminders to complete their forms. We've got a lot of nice filters built in for you, so you have visibility of what's going on with the forms process.
Yeah, once you have that in, it's always in, so you don't have to go back there again. So we know exactly
Yeah.
when to send it, when we want a reminder to go out. And I'm always
Mhm.
sure to put my expiration date of when it's due within 3 days because I found the longer you give them to do it, the more likely they are to
Well,
forget about it.
that's very true. Yeah. But here's exactly what the forms would look like to fill out. They are so simple, so easy to complete. We'll of course brand them for each practice. We can even have them upload pictures of driver's licenses, insurance cards, things like that. But the best part about these is they do fully integrate with the practice management system. So
Yes.
each form that is completed will upload directly, and it will automatically update all their demographics, their contact information, as well as the health history will all auto update within the practice management system in their charts.
Right. And again, we were using Dentrix Hub for so long, and we got used to patients calling and just being so frustrated that it wasn't real user friendly. Sometimes it would cut them off, or it was slowed, it was delayed, or it would cut
Yep.
off a part of something and they couldn't find it. So I would definitely say that this is my favorite in that because it's very quick responsive.
Hmm.
If you ever go to a site where it's just delayed and it's hard to read it, it's hard to pull up and it's so frustrating, you're just like, forget it. This is not. It's very quick, it's very responsive, it's very clear, it's very easy and to navigate through is because we do have that older demographic of patients. That's
Hmm.
what is so nice about it is that you don't have patients complaining about it anymore. If they say
Right.
anything about it, it is saying how easy and fast it was to get through it.
Yeah, I would say that's the biggest complaint I get, especially from specialty offices, as our patients are older, that they're not going to be able to utilize this system. But I promise they can utilize this system. It is so simple to use. And like you mentioned, we do have an iPad app as well. So if they want to do it in office with a little bit of help, they can do it there, and it'll still write back the same way. So we get away from using the paper and scanning and things like that.
And using NexHealth was actually the first time that we've ever gotten to get away from the paper medical history form because again with the hub, if they came in because they were frustrated and they couldn't get the online medical history to work, they would just sit down with a piece of paper and it would take forever for them to
Mhm.
finish the papers. We did buy an iPad recently because of that feature, and now if they come in and they haven't filled it out, we can give them the iPad and it is a lot faster and we don't have the paper to deal with anymore.
Yeah, so much faster and more efficient.
Yes.
And paper and toner is getting pretty expensive these days. So love
Yes.
to save some cost there when we
You are
can.
right.
Also, what's nice about the forms for existing patients when they do return to the office, and you need them to update like a health history, for example, it will pre-populate their previous answers from your EHR. So they
Nice.
don't have to complete the entire form each time they come in. They can just acknowledge or mark any changes that have made, and then they'll be reflected in your practice management system.
Beautiful.
Um, this is a very popular feature within our specialty offices. Is the way that we do appointment reminders is dramatically different than any other system. So the way that most systems remind patients of their appointments, it's a very generic, robotic appointment message, and they lack customization. Whereas with NexHealth, we can build your appointment confirmations um, out by procedure codes, appointment types, different things like that to really personalize these and customize them as much as you would like. So, a few examples for you. New patients, when they're scheduled, they'll get a new patient welcome message. We can include driving directions for the office. If I'm coming in for an existing appointment, it'll tell me exactly what type of appointment I'm coming in for, how long that appointment's expected to take. And then for your specialty visits, we can even include preoperative instructions, pre-med instructions. Make sure you bring a ride with you to take you home, something like that, fast for 24 hours. And then even after the visit, we can trigger messages to go out with automated post-op instructions or just a message from the doctor that says, hey, this is Dr. Sheldon. Wanted to check on you after X procedure. Let me know how you're doing and if you need anything.
Oh, great.
So the sky is really the limit with what we can build out there. What we want to do is make those reminders and that information just a lot more personal for the patients rather than very generic sounding messages. And hopefully save the staff a lot of time from a lot of those questions they get throughout the day and really overall improve the patient experience. If I get home from a specialty visit and I get a message from the doctor checking up on me with my post-op care instructions, that goes a really long way with a lot of the patients today.
Very true. Yes.
And of course, when a patient responds to confirm for the appointment itself, we'll mark that as confirmed automatically in the practice management system. I have some offices even include like a cancellation policy if patients are unconfirmed. We can automate those to go out to patients to help cut down on cancellations and no-shows as well.
Okay. I like that. We're not using that one yet. I like that one.
Yeah. Do you guys have a missed appointment policy in place?
We do, and as most people will tell you that are in a private practice, it's hard to implement it, because
Yeah.
you're just going to upset them. However, I have found that when you do just remind them about the policy, those
Hmm.
light reminders go a long way. Usually, if I have someone that has either canceled before the 24-hour notice or just didn't show after two offenses, if I give them a reminder of, this is our policy, we haven't implemented
Hmm.
it. It is, if you could just let us know if something comes up, we know life happens. Those go nicely instead of saying you're going to be charged $35 next time this happens.
Right. Yeah. I even have a lot of offices that don't have like a specific policy, but even if we send a message like 48 hours before the visit that is very targeted and personalized, it says, hey, Danielle, it looks like you haven't confirmed for your appointment yet. We have a lot of patients that are trying to get in this time of year. If you could please let us know whether you can make it or not within the next 24 hours, we would sure appreciate it. Something like that that feels much more personal than just like an automated system will warrant a higher response rate as well. So even things like that have been really helpful in that situation.
So that would be like a second reminder text, which is different from
Hmm.
the first text that goes out as a reminder. Okay.
Correct. And we do what we call essentially, depending on if they have responded already to a previous message, if they already confirmed, we can send different messages based upon their previous responses. So
Okay.
if I am still unconfirmed, I could get that specific message with your policy or like another ask, hey, please confirm or tell us you can't make it. And if I have confirmed, then obviously I would get a different message or something that, hey, it looks like you're already confirmed. We just wanted to remind you one more time as a courtesy. Looking forward to seeing you. We can build those out however you'd like us to.
Yeah, and I have found that when we were using the hub for communications, the patients couldn't respond back the way that they can respond back with NexHealth. And it's nice that
Mm.
we can send that out and they can say, "Oh, I forgot that I have something that came up. Can I reschedule?" Sure, you can reschedule. Here's a link to reschedule, or we can work with them right then on rescheduling. It's nice because sometimes with the hub, we still would have the cancellations or the no-shows because they couldn't communicate with us on it and they just wouldn't
Hmm.
show up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that they couldn't even text back like through the hub.
It's very
Just so
sensitive on how
hmm,
it was just very weird.
interesting. Just so you have an idea, or they have an idea of like what our texting platform looks like. Very simple to use, and it is true two-way texting. So patients respond to you, you'll get a little pop-up in the top right of your computer. We can save common responses or templates for you. This also does accept picture messages, so if patients need to text you a photo, they're able to do that as well. What we do for most offices is we port over your office phone number rather than giving you a separate number or like a short code to text through. You'll get a higher response rate, and that's more welcoming for a lot of the older patients if you're texting through your office number rather than a separate phone number.
Yeah, we found that was very beneficial. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. See here, we covered that. This is something you mentioned right off the bat was our review tool.
Yes.
Um, Highly customizable as well. We can reach out for specific appointments. We can even control what time of the day we reach out. What we've seen is if we reach out between 5 and 7 p.m. at night, that's when the data shows that screen time is the most active on cell phones, and you'll get more responses during that time. But these requests will go out automatically to your patients via text and email asking to leave a review for you. And what we can do is set up a filter for you. So if you want just 4 or 5 star reviews to go directly to your Google page, we can do that. Anyone that leaves a 1 to 3 star review, we'll keep that internally through NexHealth. So you have that feedback, but it's not posted to your public page.
We have done that. We
Um,
get the 4 or 5 stars to Google, and it's nice that we don't have to deal with those
mhm.
bad reviews and then try to call them and fix it and get them to take a,
Yeah,
which is hard. So that has been a really good tool for us. How do you prevent the does this go out to every patient every time they come? So what if they're coming 3 times in 1 week for 3 different kinds of appointments? Are they getting 3 requests for reviews?
no, great question. So we can set parameters that they only get one every 6 months or
Okay.
12 months or however often. Or again, if you only want us to do it for hygiene visits or other types of visits, we can customize that however you'd like. So they're not getting bombarded with review requests.
Yes. I noticed that you guys do have a lot of features where you can reduce the amount of texting they get, with the confirmation, with the reviews, with the reminders, all the different features you have. My first kind of panic when we had our demo with you is our patients they don't like using their phone anyways, and they're going to have a hard all this. But it's nice that there's so many filters and so many things that we can customize so they're not getting bombarded with so many of these features.
Exactly. It's always tough finding that happy medium of patients getting enough messages but not too many. So we that's why we built it to be so customizable. And you can change things at a patient level too. So if there's specific people that don't want certain things, you can opt them out of just that specific feature. We can tailor those at a patient level as well, which is really nice.
And can you opt the
Um,
patient out of doing a review if they're just a grumpy patient?
you can, yep. You can turn the review off just for that patient, and then they wouldn't get reviews. Yep.
Okay,
We also can direct reviews to Facebook or Yelp if offices are interested in that. We recommend prioritizing Google. That's what's most important, will drive the most revenue for you, but we can do
okay.
Facebook and Yelp as well.
Can you do Facebook and Yelp and Google, all three of them?
It's it I mean we can, but you have to go to each site, so a patient would have to do 3 separate reviews,
I
which
see.
they're probably not going to do that.
Correct.
So we can give them an option. Do you want to do Google or Facebook or Yelp?
Okay,
But it's not going to post to all 3 of them. There's no way of doing that.
got it.
Okay. Let's see here. Our campaigns tool is quite robust and used in a lot of situations. Um, so if you ever need to mass text or email your patient database, you're able to do that through NexHealth. We have built a lot of filters in. So if there's a specific group that you're trying to target for maybe a promotional offer or an end of the year type of push or any specials we have going on, or maybe there's a group of patients that we want to reactivate and get them in and send them a specific booking link to get back on the schedule, we're able to target them through this system. It's also really helpful in emergency type of situations. So if the power went out or a specific provider was sick for the day, you can grab just the group of patients on the schedule for that provider or for that day, send them a mass email and text message that they'll have to get rescheduled, and you could even include a booking link to help them get rescheduled.
And what is that called?
That's our campaigns tool.
Got it.
Yeah, we have a lot of templates in there as well, for like specials and promotions and things like that you can edit and make your own. And we're constantly adding to that, and you can always build your own as well.
Got it. Perfect.
Okay. Let's see here. Are you guys utilizing the online payments, Danielle?
So that is something that we were just getting ready to start because there's so much that we're learning with NexHealth. But we do right now, what we do is because we are fee for service, we do not take any of the insurance and we do have all payments, all the fees are paid prior to services being rendered. We don't do any
Mhm.
like in-house payment plans or anything. So sometimes they pay a deposit when they're scheduling and
Okay.
they pay the remainder when they're coming in. So that would be like, okay, it's $10,000 for this plan. They pay $5,000 or scheduling. We know they're going to show up because it's $5,000, but when they
Right.
come in, they're going to pay $5,000. Well, it's like herding cats trying to get everybody on page with that where we're doing it professionally, meaning I put on the face of the schedule, collect $5,000 from Jane Doe when she comes in. I have a paper
Mhm.
reminder at the front desk just in case. I have it in the chart notes just in case that girl's not there that day or she's out to lunch. I feel like I'm just so paranoid that we're going to forget that and they're going to be taken back and they're going to get the treatment and they don't pay for it. So when I was looking at this feature on NexHealth, I could say to my patients, you will receive a notification to pay that balance and you can pay it prior to coming in or, whatever it
Mhm.
is, but they can take care of that prior to coming into the office.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of use cases for this, and I'm sure some of your offices will be a bit different, but I'll kind of give you an idea of what the product is capable of doing. First of all, we can post a link directly to your website where patients on their own can pay you directly through the website.
Okay.
In addition to that, you can send them a request via text or email. Looks something like this. Um, where they can see all that information of like what they're paying for, right? And then they can click on that link, enter their card information, and then pay you online directly from that message. Once a payment is processed, we'll give you a notification in NexHealth or an email notification. A lot of my offices like to do it that way as well, that you have been paid. We will route that money into your bank account, and then you can go mark that in your ledger of your practice management system or however you typically do your billing.
Got it.
Um, in addition to that, we are able to save a card on file through a couple different scenarios. One of them is through our online booking. I don't recommend this for every practice, um, but if we want to qualify patients that are booking online a bit more, this is something we can set up for you. This doctor, he is general, but he is a fee-for-service office. I just really like the way he has his online booking set up on the last page, because this last page of questions and qualifications, we can completely customize this per office, okay, and even per appointment. But something that he has added is a dental benefits agreement, so patients understand that and that they are fee-for-service, no guarantee anything will be covered. They will file as a courtesy. They also acknowledge that they will complete their paperwork. But something that's interesting that he does is he does have them acknowledge his missed appointment policy. But more importantly, he has new patients put a card on file before they can schedule online.
Very impressive.
Okay. So
And I
I
know
don't
that
recommend that
sounds,
for, oh, sorry, go
yes,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I know that sounds scary to a lot of offices. And my clients know that when I say it's not what you're doing that's going to be the problem, it's how you're presenting because it's
Mhm.
usually our mindsets that prevents us from doing stuff like this that actually protects us. But we do have our new patients, pay a $25 deposit when they're scheduling. So a lot of my
Perfect.
clients are like, "Oh my gosh, how do you do that? You're going to lose patients," but we don't. It's all on how we do it. So I
Mhm.
love this because it's the same kind of philosophy. You have somewhat of a financial obligation to your appointment, whether you miss it or you're paying for it, one or the other.
Yeah.
So I love that. That's great.
Yeah. And it'll filter out like some window shoppers that people weren't that who weren't going to show up anyways, right? Like I'm going to make sure I'm serious about booking an appointment with you before I put my card on file and I know that I'm held accountable to that fee. So that's something that we can add through the online booking or through the digital forms itself. If you want us to add a credit card authorization form, we can gather their credit card information and save that on file for you. So when you need to charge it, you can do that through NexHealth.
Beautiful.
Okay. Let's see here. Same, I know we talked about some like insurance options.
Yes.
We can also gather insurance information through the forms. Whether you want them to type in the information or just take a picture of their insurance cards front and back, we can gather that information for you ahead of time. Similarly, we can do that through the online booking as well. So we can add an insurance filter right up front.
Okay.
Um, so if you want us to just add the list of insurances that you accept and not allow them to book if they select, or if it's not on that list, we could do that. Or have some offices that will add like insurances they don't accept on there. And if they select that, it'll have them call the office. It won't allow them to book. We can
Okay.
customize that for you so we make sure that we're capturing the right bucket of patients that you'd like.
Beautiful.
There's some options we have for the insurance-based offices. Okay. Then last thing here, real quick, for offices that are in need of a new phone system or just a phenomenal phone system, um, what's really unique about NexHealth, as I mentioned, that we've developed our own APIs, our own bridges to the practice management systems that we work with. And we actually have a lot of other systems that have came to us to ask for access to our bridge because it's so much better than the other ones out there. One of those that we have partnered with is called Pure Logic. They are one of the big players of VoIP or internet-based phone systems in this space. So instead of NexHealth like trying to build our own phone system and start from scratch, we have partnered with Pure Logic to provide fantastic phone service that's built upon NexHealth's integration. So just a couple of the features that an office would experience is, of course, like new phones and unlimited lines and everything that comes with an internet-based phone system. But what's nice is it's built on the NexHealth integration. So when a patient calls into the office, you're going to get a little pop-up of who that patient is. You can see the patient details, the history. It will record all of the phone calls for you. I know Danielle really likes that it will also
Yes.
transcribe those phone calls for you so you can read that. That's something I love on my cell phone is when my voicemails are transcribed. It's easier
Yes.
for me to read those while I'm doing things rather than listen to them. So
Yes.
we will transcribe those for you. It also has some very unique calling analytics and some even AI tools built in. So it'll provide you with a report of how many missed phone calls you've had, when those are coming in, and it'll even track for you of how many of those were existing patients, how many were potential new patients, how many are scams. It'll recognize those for you, so we'll make sure we're not wasting time calling those patients back. It's going to provide all of that for you. Another phenomenal tool with that is if you miss a phone call, it will automatically send that patient a text message. And a lot of my offices will include the online booking link within that text message. So it says, hey, if you need to get scheduled, click here, and then they can book themselves even though you missed their phone call.
I'm making sure we have that one in place because I love that
Yeah,
one.
very helpful.
Now I do, as a manager, I love that every call is recorded. It does give a warning to the patients when it rings that all calls are being recorded for quality assurance. And they don't ever expire. So I can go back and look months. I can look back as far as I need to. I
Mhm.
love that my staff knows that calls are being recorded because they are very careful on the phone. It instantly improved the quality of the calls that my staff is doing. So I do love that. The transcribing is great because we can copy and paste that in the chart notes because the one thing that you said is unlimited lines. Well, we used to have 8 lines and we thought that was more than enough. However, we learned that we were missing a lot of calls because ever since we got Pure Logic phones installed in our office, they will not stop ringing. So a good problem, bad problem, however you want to look at it. But we're getting a lot more phone calls because there were a lot more people trying to reach us. And we thought we were just having internet issues, phone company issues. It wasn't. It was just that our phones were ringing a lot more than we thought. So we were able to save money by canceling our Spectrum phone and internet service and just using the Pure Logic phones. So we had the transcribe. We can copy and paste in the chart notes. I can listen to all calls for the that. And also it's great too because when a patient is calling me to complain about something, it's nice to say, I did go back and listen to that call. They love that. And a lot of times it also makes it to where the complaint kind of fizzles out because they know that I've listened to it. So I'm listening to the actual phone call. So I do absolutely love that. That has been a big saver for us.
Perfect. I love to hear it. Um, As far as like working remote as well, this becomes very helpful. We do provide a mobile app for after hours use, whether you need to take phone calls or text patients. You can log into NexHealth from any device, cell phone, laptop, anywhere you need to check your schedule, all that type of stuff you're able to do with this system as well, which is really helpful. If you ever do call or text a patient through the mobile app, it'll come from the office number, not your personal cell phone number, which is also really nice.
I love that. Wonderful.
Well, let's see here. I think that was everything on my list of what we wanted to cover, Danielle. Is there anything I missed?
I think that's everything on my list. I know that you guys
Okay.
cover so much more than that, but I know from
Mhm.
a periodontal practice, that's a private practice, that these were the things that we absolutely loved. And thank you for taking the time to share this with our clients and for our members, because I do really think that this will save staff time, reduce the overtime because we're doing a lot less steps, improve our production schedule, and not only that, but the morale of my team has been so much better because this eliminates so many steps, so much paper, and the amount of people that I actually need to do that job has reduced, which is so nice.
Yeah, I know more often than not, most offices I talk to right now are understaffed and struggling to find help. And in a lot of areas, NexHealth has been able to step in and act as a 24/7 front desk personnel for you.
Yeah, I feel like
Um,
I have another staff member.
you
Yes, it's
do, right? At all times, NexHealth is working for you, capturing new patients, making sure they're filling out their paperwork, leaving reviews, helping
yes,
grow the practice. It's working for you 24/7.
it's wonderful. I thank you for your time to do this for us, and everything that NexHealth has been able to do for us as a practice. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem. I'm glad you've had a good experience. That's what we
Yes.
strive for. One last thing I did want to cover really quick, actually, because I know the idea of changing for every office is a concern. And our onboarding process here is dramatically different than any other software system I've seen in the space. So what we do is we assign you one account manager for the first 90 days of your experience with NexHealth. Any questions or additional training you need, you have one point of contact. We will custom build everything for you. Just give us an idea of how you need us to set it up. And we will do live training over Zoom with your staff so we make sure everyone is comfortable in how to use the system, everyone's up to speed. We'll make sure it's working correctly before we turn anything on. And then once you're ready, we'll turn NexHealth on and turn your existing system off if there is one in place, and we'll just take over from there. All of our support's done in-house. We don't outsource anything. If you do call our main support line, our hold time is less than 2 minutes to speak with someone that can help you. So we have less than a 2% cancellation rate. We strive to provide just as good of a support to back up our phenomenal product.
I will say the training process with you guys was very easy. And we did stress that because we're very busy. We don't have time to do training. We don't have time to do all this stuff. But I will say that you guys were very patient with us. And when we did spend that time to learn something or to integrate something, it was very quick and very easy to do.
Perfect.
So
Glad to
how,
hear that.
if anybody is interested in doing a demo with you for their office, how do they get a hold of you to do that?
Yeah, I'll send over my contact information, obviously. But calling me at this number or emailing me is the best way to get in touch with me. And this is my cell, so you can text me as well if that's easier for you. But happy to schedule some time, run through a demo. What we do offer as well is anyone that signs up same day of seeing a demo with us, we do offer a pretty significant discount. So that's something to keep in mind as well. I believe that's something you took advantage of in that
Yes.
practice. But that day demo promotion does get you the best discounts and saves you a pretty significant amount of money. But happy to run through a demo, answer any questions with anyone that wants to take a look.
All right. Well, thank you, Eric. I do appreciate your time.
Yeah, not a problem, Danielle. It was great to meet you. And I'll send over the slide deck and some of the resources that I built out for you, and just let me know anything else I can do to help. Okay.
Sounds wonderful. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Have a good one. Okay.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye bye.